In this episode...
Don't you just hate to see your vice captain smash it up?
The Fantasy Football Show.
Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Planet FPL, the world where everything revolves around triple Liverpool defence. I had to say it, James. Triple Liverpool defence.
Who gives a shit? I've got 16 points from 3 of them this week.
My name's Suj.
My name is still James.
And we are here after game week 6. Oh, James is on the booze.
Fuck it.
Yeah, why not? I'm on the lemon and ginger tea, mate. But we shall survive.
Cheers.
Game week 6 is over, so we, ticking along nicely. How was your game week 6?
All right, mate. Yeah, 71 points. We'll take that, including Liverpool returns at the back.
50% of those points coming from an unexpected source.
Twice for my vice, mate.
Yes.
Yeah,
Twice
listen,
for my vice.
Got a lucky turn there. There's no doubt about it. I captained Sterling, and I decided quite late actually to change the vice captaincy from Harry to Kevin De Bruyne. So yeah, great return. I probably won't hit a captain score that big again all season. I've seen a few people who triple captain Sterling and adds vice on De Bruyne. Fucking love to see it, right? So
yeah. Does that obviously that be your triple captain jumps as well then at that point, right?
Yeah, of course, you would have got 51 for De Bruyne.
Lovely.
I've seen a few who had that.
I haven't, but yeah, there we go.
Yeah, lucky. That's the way it goes. You can flip that the other way, can't you? You can say look at Spurs VAR goal, and you could say I would have had an assist and another bonus point for Kane. So look, I've seen quite a few people moaning about this. It's the rules, right?
Mm.
You know, at some point it's probably going to pay off for you. That's the way it goes.
Yeah. Your 2 transfers last week, you moved from Virgil van Dijk to Joel Matip, and that was it.
No, I brought in Cantwell for own goal specialist Leander Dendoncker.
That proved out okay.
I guess I would have ended up with Dendoncker in the team. Unfortunately, Mason Mount's injury rather screwed up my plan a little bit because I was going to just go Zinchenko. Well, yeah, I actually left Mount on the bench. I couldn't believe that he would start after that injury. And I wasn't that bothered because we were playing Liverpool. I was going to go Zinchenko to Otamendi, which skewed it. And then I was really worried looking at that with Dendoncker and Stevens. I wasn't so bothered about Stevens coming in with Newcastle away because I thought, yeah, it's probably a bog standard 2 or 3 pointer there, 3-pointer as it proved. But you're looking at it and you're thinking, right, Zinchenko might get left out. Is Sterling even nailed to play? As proved that he wasn't. Then Donker, Stevens. Suddenly I'm looking at it going, fucking hell, team looks shit this week.
Yes.
So just getting Cantwell in made me feel a little bit better about the way it looked. In hindsight, the best thing I could have done was obviously just go Zinchenko to Otamendi.
Yeah, hindsight's a fucking
Otamendi was the only player to pick up, other than Ederson, was the only City player to pick up the clean sheet points. So not only did he hit the 15, everybody else was getting ones and that. If you had Walker or any of them, you were on ones because he changed them all, didn't he?
60 minutes, you're right. What did that do to your overall rank?
Big jump, up from 1.6 million to just under 800k.
That's a nice rise. I hit 64 points this week, which I'm happy with because to come off the back of a 26 to get to 64, I feel pretty stable. I didn't hit my wild card on Saturday night despite toying with it. And after yesterday's games, I'm quite glad I didn't. Despite my biggest thing is missing the price rise on Kevin De Bruyne, but I'll stomach that because I do have money in the bank. So I'm not losing sleep over that. But yeah, 64 points and almost a tale of kind of what could have been. If that Liverpool clean sheet had held and Aubameyang didn't fucking get himself a yellow card right at the end, that 10-point captain from Aubameyang could have been an 18 very easily, but it wasn't to be. He didn't get any bonus points and he lost a bloody point for that yellow card at the end. But other than Maddison returned for me, which was very nice. I've held him through 2 blanks and I don't know, he's a very, very good player. He's going to get some returns maybe this season at 7 million. I've almost got rid of him for Kevin De Bruyne, but I'm going to keep Maddison now for a while, I think. And Lundstrom came in off the bench for a nice 12-point return as well, so I was happy with that. Overall happy, and I'm not going to be wildcarding this week now.
Good. I'm glad you feel better about it. Lots having John Lundstrom off the bench as well.
Yeah.
So imagine that. You had quite a few who had sort of Sterling to De Bruyne on the captaincy, John Lundstrom off the bench as well. Imagine because of, say, Sterling not playing.
Yeah.
There's others who had the flip side of it. Dendoncker coming off the bench for his 0.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting game week. What was the average in the end?
52. Which is not that high considering, but you'd think I didn't get any City attacking returns and yet still beat the average by 12 despite a lot of blanks in my team as well. But if you look at the City game, so you had Mahrez, David Silva, Bernardo Silva. I think Mahrez and David Silva are both less than 3% owned. Bernardo Silva's only 11% owned. Otamendi's only 6% owned. So of all the games,
up to 6. We was 2% pre-game.
Yeah, he's about 6%.
I know he's had a rise.
The only and Aguero to come out of that game with only 9 points for an 18-point captain return, or 9 points, whatever it was, meant that the only player really that was hurting people was Kevin De Bruyne. There wasn't really any other damage being done. And so I think all FPL managers have to come away from that. If you don't own City attacking assets, or you own others other than Kevin De Bruyne, like Sir FPL Wifey, Mrs. FPL Wifey and her blag, really lucky, because that game could have hurt people a whole lot more than it did in terms of overall rank and points and stuff.
I think if you captained Aguero at the weekend, you have been so unbelievably, desperately unlucky.
Agreed.
5 big chances he had.
Huge.
If I'd have said to you pre-game, Aguero's going to start, Man City going to win 8-0, and they'll be 5-0 up in 20 minutes, you would have broke your bank to not only buy him in, but to triple captain him as well.
100%. He was a very viable triple captaincy option this week.
You've been desperately unlucky if you've done that, honestly. You knew he was going to play, having had the rest at Shakhtar in the week. I personally saw no reason why Sterling would get left out with the League Cup games coming up this week. Interesting that Bernardo played from the left and got the hat-trick and the returns. Yeah,
mental. Mental. But this weekend was full of very, very interesting results and games as well, to be honest. I mean, with Spurs losing and Manchester United losing, and that kind of 4th down to 8th is going to be very tight this season.
Well, it looked like Spurs, Man United, Chelsea and Arsenal were all going to lose
at
again
one point
together. Yeah, obviously Arsenal pulled it out at the end.
Yeah, I'd like to think it's because other clubs are catching up.
A little bit of both. Leicester are obviously getting very close. We're going to allow you, Suj, West Ham, to be in the conversation at the moment. Bournemouth will not have the consistency to stay in the position they're in longer term. I think it's more the fact that those 4 clubs that I've mentioned are all regressing.
We're away at Bournemouth next week. And that's a real test, I think. That's going to be a real test. If we want to consider ourselves top 6 contenders, we need to be beating Bournemouth away.
6-pointer, isn't it, for Champions League qualification?
Something along those lines. Let's get into some of the games, shall we? Just before we do, because it comes up on Twitter all the time and has been coming up even more consistently. You're sticking with 3 Liverpool at the back.
Yes.
As am I.
Yes. I've kind of relented a little bit by moving from Van Dijk to Matip. I just think Matip is absolutely secure in that team at the moment. Van Dijk, slightly bigger aerial threat at set pieces, but probably not a million's worth in it if Matip stays in the team in the short term.
Sure.
Obviously, Van Dijk is never a rotation risk, and there probably will be games at some point where Joe Gomez plays there for either Matip or Alexander-Arnold. I just have to live with it. I think for the extra 1 million saving, downgrading from Van Dijk to Matip was worth it at the moment.
Yep.
I am very much thinking of ditching the other 2 I've got at the back though, Dean and Zinchenko. So there's every chance I'll end up with a back 3 of the 3 Liverpool guys.
Yeah, I was considering that as well. I've spent a lot of time thinking about this over the last 24 hours or 48 hours because it keeps coming up. There was a moment, obviously, when it was 2-0 or whatever to Liverpool that I was thinking, this is going to be nice. This is going to be a real comeback.
As soon as you think that, you know you're going to get fucked.
Yeah, of course. But you can't help yourself, right?
I saw people tweeting with like, look how many points I'm on for these. Other people have got 3.
Yeah.
Or even the 2 of Alexander-Arnold and Robertson,
Yeah.
thinking I'm going to be hitting sort of 25 for just the 2 of them.
Yeah.
The second you do that, you have cursed it, mate. I never looked till it's finished on the bonuses and that.
And it's a valid conversation to be having, but I just thought I'd run through my thought process on why I'm going to stick with 3 as well, right? So 79 points from the 3 so far this season. So that it works out an average of about 4 points a game, 4 points something per game. It means each of them will end the season on 170 points, give or take a couple of points. So they're on a run rate of 167, if I'm going to be precise, with only 1 clean sheet, with Alisson to come back. So would you be happy with 170 points over the season of the 3 of them each?
Yeah.
As defenders?
Yeah.
So that's
it was always going to be a big ask for them to be pushing beyond 200 again.
Yeah.
I think there is a case that the case particularly with Trent and Robertson has proven again yesterday. Attacking returns
are phenomenal.
Essentially, really, there are 5 players in the Liverpool team that are going to provide you with attacking returns.
Yeah,
and 2 of them are defenders.
There's 2 arguments to be made about why you should potentially move away from an FPL point of view, right? Firstly, there are other defenders that are getting more points, or there's better value elsewhere in the points per million kind of state. The 3 Liverpool, all 3 of them have played every minute of every game so far. Rotation, not going to happen. Well, I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but at the moment...
the whole back 4.
Yeah, exactly. Points per million is one that interested me. Trent's up to 4.3. Robbo's 3.6 and Van Dijk is 3.5. Matip's doing a little bit better, 3.8. But they're all above 3.5 points per million so far, right? So I was trying to benchmark it against other players. You don't get better value from other players like your KDB. KDB is the only one out of the midfielders who offers a significantly better points per million at like 5.4. Of the premiums, I have to add that in. Because if you've got a £6 million player or a £6.5 million player like Mount, his points per million is going to be massively higher, right? So the Liverpool trio are offering a better points per million than any other premium, and are comparable to a lot of the 6, 7 and £8 million midfielders and strikers right now, if you break it down that way. So they're scoring as many points. I'll take 170, 180 points. And the points per million is there or thereabouts. Now, if they'd kept even 1 more clean sheet between them, 1 more clean sheet, we wouldn't even be having this debate or conversation right now. They'd all be at about 4.5 to 5.5 points per million, played every single game. And you'd be looking at the best part of nearly 95 points.
This was another fixture last season where Liverpool conceded, and they conceded again.
Yeah.
And again, it was a worldie. I had no complaints on Adrian this time on that goal on Sunday. Brilliant goal from Kante. I thought actually it was probably man of the match, Kante, even though he was on the losing side. Terrific player.
Yeah. So ultimately, with Alisson back in a few weeks, maybe 2 to 3, and the run rate that they're at anyway, it doesn't make any logical sense to move away. I can't see an argument too. All the other players that you could say are offering a better points total or points per million, you can still have if you have a triple Liverpool defence or big at the back. The likes of Mason Mount or Cantwell. Well, we have these guys already. Or Maddison or Ceballos, who have a better points per million. You're not missing out on these guys necessarily. Do you know there's only one other defender who has... Sorry, there are only 2 other defenders that have a higher ownership than these guys, or in the 20-plus ownership. There's Dean. Sorry, Lundstrom is bench fodder, let's be honest. I don't know.
Is he the highest scoring defender in the game? Remarkably.
Wan-Bissaka and Dean are the only 2 defenders with more than 20% ownership. Dean's on 24 points, Wan-Bissaka on 18. The lowest scoring Liverpool guy is VVD on 23. There's only 1 point in it. So there's just not the other value out there that people are thinking about.
No, you have to be conscious to compare it. The argument for me is, I think if someone had broken out last year at, say, Jimenez's price. Now, Jimenez was quite a slow burner last year, really.
Yeah.
It didn't come like the Pookie and Abraham, like bang, hauls. Jimenez was a slow burner. Yeah. People went on at different times.
Yeah.
If somebody had broken out from that Jimenez range, even as a forward, to go, must have, then yeah, I compare. TAA is what, the same price as Pookie, cheaper than Abraham, and I can get all these guys as well anyway.
Yeah, that's
right?
the thing, right?
So
you having a big at the back doesn't restrict you from the good value options further forward. I just think that there's only a couple of players that are really hauling in the KDBs and Salahs and stuff.
So I can go this week, for example. I'm far from making a decision in terms of what I'm doing this week. I might still follow through on that Zinchenko Otamendi move, but at the moment, I said last week I'll play Dean against Man City. Nah, I've changed my mind. Fuck that, right? So that's a big whack of money to be sitting on the bench.
Yeah.
So I could downgrade Dean to a Rico, for example, and I move from Wickham to Abraham.
Yeah.
I'm just shoving the funds there, and it doesn't mean I have to move the Liverpool guys out.
No, exactly. There are plenty of moves to be made in and around that. Just thought I'd get it off. Should we talk about some of the games?
Yeah, let's do that.
So the Friday night game we'll touch on briefly because you can actually go back onto YouTube and watch us watching the entire game for our thoughts.
Why would you do that?
Yeah, why would you spend 90 seconds now on us running down the game when you can spend 90 minutes watching that instead? Ultimately, a comfortable win for Bournemouth. I thought Bournemouth played quite well.
I don't know about comfortable.
The second half, Southampton were better, but first half, I don't think Southampton were up so much.
JWP stood out for the amount
did.
of efforts he had on 6, I think.
Yeah, and he did get the penalty in the end, which he
got,
put away very well.
Yeah, interesting. He was on the pens. I don't know if that would be maintained. If I don't think Danny Ings. I was half pissed.
I didn't see Southampton had 25 shots.
Danny Ings didn't come on, did he?
No.
We were pissed during the second half, so we weren't watching it. Yeah, Danny Ings was on for the last 13.
There you go.
Yeah, so I think
shots.
Ings would be the first choice penalty taker there. So no guarantee that Ward-Prowse would stay on it at 5.8. They've got a meh run, Southampton now. Tottenham, Chelsea, Wolves, Leicester, Man City, Everton, Arsenal. Sorry, did I say meh? I mean awful. Sorry. That's their next 7. Yeah. Although Everton at home is... it's gone from T-Rex and Rex last week to just Rex and Rex with Everton, isn't it, after this weekend? Yeah, Southampton not to be looked at. I was disappointed Gineppo didn't play. I said that on the stream at the time. I think at 5.4, because of his values kind of well under the Ward-Prowses and Redmond's, is one to keep an eye on. Buffal will always flatter to deceive. Every time you watch him, you think he's got ability, but never has the returns with it. Bournemouth, Callum Wilson.
I'm so surprised he hasn't gone up in price in the last 2 to 3 days.
It's caused massive amount of rage Friday night. People moaning about, he's only had one touch. Look how lucky he is getting the goal.
Yeah, but you could say the same about Sir Harry Kane as well.
What I did want to speak about with this was the XG on the goal.
Yeah.
So I looked into this a little bit because someone posted that his XG for the goal was 0.66 or something. Now, listen, the fuck to that, right? It's 0.99999. So I thought, is that based on before the impact with the keeper? Nope. It's plotted from the area of where he has the shot. So at that point, when Callum Wilson had the shot, his XG for that was 0.66. So you're telling me that 1 in every 3 times he has that open goal, he's going to miss?
I don't know.
So apparently it's not factored in terms of like goalkeeper's positioning and that kind of thing. We have to be careful here.
XG is a bit of a funny one. I don't use it myself.
I think you can...
I like hearing XG. I will repeat it, but I don't use it for my decision making ever.
It's like anything with the stats, right? You can manipulate it to whatever your own... Callum Wilson should have had like the second or third highest XG from the weekend, as far as I can tell, just from that chance.
Yep.
And he hasn't. He's been quite quiet in the rest of the game and not had any other efforts on goal. That's not an accurate description of what an XG chance is for me. That's a point that he can't miss that. If he misses that, Ronnie Rosenthal can sleep well at night.
Yeah.
And Matt Ritchie from last year, it's over. So just be a little bit conscious. I would say if you really want to drill into someone's XG and stuff, like do look into it properly.
See the chances that they relate to and what have you.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. Does Callum Wilson come onto your radar yet? Still 7.8 million because of the run of fixtures?
No, I mean, it's every reason why he should, right?
Yeah.
40 points from 6 games and coming against some teams where you would fancy some goals: West Ham, Arsenal, Norwich, Watford, even further, United and then Newcastle away, Wolves at home. Yeah, I don't know why he's not. He's 10.5%. I just think it just relates to the fact that Pookie, Haller, Abraham, Ashley Barnes are all cheaper.
Yeah, I think Haller to Callum Wilson's
and
a real consideration.
There's not enough of a belief to feel like he'll be outscoring those guys. So say like now, if you wanted to move off Pookie, for me, I'm going to Abraham before I go to Wilson because I believe more in Chelsea's run than that consistency.
Yeah,
which is a bit mad, but there might be a game or two where I feel like I might captain Abraham possibly. If Chelsea pick up a little bit, I don't see me ever. Do you know what? If Callum Wilson's in your team, he's going to fucking let you down. That's what I feel. It's just never going to feel like enough. As consistent as it is, he's never really getting the hauls that's going to make a difference for you.
It does sometimes. Maybe not enough, but you're only paying 7.8 million.
Well, I spoke about Wilson at length last week, and I can't argue. Like, if anybody goes for him, just absolutely can't. I think a front three, if you're in that value point at the moment and you're happy to know it's going to be difficult to move, like a front three of Wilson, Pookie, Abraham is absolutely fine. Mm. Wilson's going to tick you over consistently. Just wanted to say as well, I thought Josh King was excellent in a wide position.
He was.
During the game. Really good.
Tell me about Leicester 2, Spurs 1. I watched bits of the game, drifting in and out of doing stuff with the kids. But I thought Leicester played quite well, to be fair, actually.
They were a very good side.
Harry Kane's goal, he was getting a lot of plaudits for it. I don't think I have convinced myself either way whether he had no chance but just to swing his leg or how much he meant it or what have you. But
it's goal of the season. What's wrong with you?
I think that was Cresswell's free kick yesterday.
Oh, yeah, all right, okay. No, it's an opportunist finish.
He took it well. I don't think there was anything else he could have done.
Well, it was probably more the credit that he actually managed to stay on his feet.
Yeah.
Harry admittedly does tend to go down quicker than some of the women I've known sometimes. But no, he stayed on his feet.
Is that a Bournemouth story?
Yeah.
I hope
Stop
Planet
people
FPL
want to watch
wifey's
this stream.
listening. I hope she is.
Yeah, she knows all about it.
Go on.
Yeah, Leicester. I mean, I'll detail Spurs in more tomorrow. Actually, no, fuck it. I'll say it. I'm captaining Harry for the next 3 game weeks, fitness permitting.
Yeah.
Which is Southampton at home, Brighton away, and Watford at home, the other side of the international break. If he's fit, he's captain. He's getting the armband.
Is that stubbornness?
It might be.
Okay.
It might be, but I believe in him, and I feel like a haul is coming.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, by the way.
I thought he was much better Saturday.
There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm just for the listeners' kind of balance.
It might be.
You know?
It might be. I think I've held on to him through the last maybe 3 game weeks for this next 3 game weeks. I'm not coming off now.
Yeah, doesn't make sense.
Just on Son, like, by all means fire him in, but he's not a better option than KDB.
Okay.
I don't care. He is out of position. He's playing up front. He's going to get you a constant stream of returns. De Bruyne's ownership is just going to keep flying. And so if it's a choice between the two, the advice would still be De Bruyne. But there is definitely room here to be fitting them both in. Like, one of the things I'm maybe considering, which might sound ridiculous, is Sterling down to Son, just briefly. Just for this little period. I can't see me taking Sterling out. Spurs, I want to do some detail tomorrow on the problems defensively.
Yeah.
On Leicester, really good. They're a very good side. They are very capable of finishing in the top 4. I was surprised at the team selection, which was more of a movement to a 4-1-4-1, which then gets the benefit out of Harvey Barnes playing in a real wide position. Perez was quite quiet, but you get the real benefit of Maddison and Tielemans in their best positions when they take a bit more of a chance and play just one of Ndidi or Chowdhury in behind. I think defensively they're okay, and one of the reasons they're okay is not necessarily because the back 4 is particularly great defensively, but because they are really solid in that midfield area. Vardy is one really to watch, I believe, in the next few weeks. Obviously go to Liverpool after Newcastle this game week, but there are a run of games coming up where, honestly, like, Vardy is an alternative captain selection this week at home to Newcastle, in my opinion. The only thing is he won't get him because they'll be so deep. Will he get him behind is often the question. For the Sky listeners, I do want to do quite a bit of detail on Leicester on Wednesday as well.
Yep. Madison's my guy at the moment that I have 7.1 due to go up, but only 11.5% ownership, which is particularly low. Maybe because he has blanked in a few games this year. That was his first goal of the season. However,
he was the most shots without scoring so far this season before he had scored,
and he's been creating more chances than anyone as well. I just think he's, dare I say, is he like a KDB light? Is there such a thing?
No.
Okay.
No, we're talking different planets here. But James Maddison, I want to see James Maddison in the England team.
He's on set pieces. He's shooting. He's creating. He's just the player that, based on the eye test, I can't sell him. He's creating chances and having chances.
I really like him.
He's just not converting.
I think he's actually, for quite a young player, I think he's actually beginning to show leadership qualities as well, which I think will put him in real good stead in future years. I think one of the things he really does, he really takes responsibility of the ball. Like, if it's not going, he wants to be on the ball. Yeah. And he believes in his own ability. I have to say, Hugo would have saved it, by the way.
You think so?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, actually, to be fair, Gazaniga wasn't anywhere in the class. But you know what?
It's a massive miss. I've said this before in the pod. People have said about, Gazaniga's the better goalie. You're on some serious drugs, mate.
Let's talk about Burnley 2, Norwich 0. We joked about how Chris Wood was the one that was going to score the goals and just level things out. My man's dropped to 6.2 million. And in the end, it was a comfortable win for Burnley. I'm quite happy with that because in my North v South team, which we haven't spoken about, I put Pope in goal. I wildcarded that team. Did you see how many points I scored?
I don't care. We'll talk about that Friday. On last Thursday's Clash of the Correspondents, I asked Jack at Turfy Topper outright that if somebody went and bought Wood over Barnes, was it crazy? And he was adamant, no. And he thought there would be probably a swing of balance at some point in the near future. And sure enough, there it was. 15 minutes in, 2 goals. Took the goals, particularly like the second goal, the way he got across the front. They got 2 good forwards, Burnley, and that alone's going to keep them all right. And they're solid enough, aren't they?
They
played well. It's worth saying Pookie had a great chance at 0-0. And again, he was desperate to get it on his right foot. Absolutely desperate. But he got to a certain stage of the game. Burnley, 20 minutes to go, 2-0 up. They shut it down better than most. It just shut the game down. And it didn't become an issue. Norwich were only going to score from long-range efforts. Leitner had a couple having come on for Tetty, who was their latest injury. No panic for Norwich. It was always, I felt, quite likely after the City result.
You always have that after the Lord Mayor's show type situation.
And to be honest, after that kind of result, Burnley's the worst team you can walk into, really.
Brick wall.
It was interesting listening to, obviously, we had Mark FPL Badger on last Thursday, and he was tweeting about the idea of playing these guys like Pookie and Cantwell in home games and actually leaving them out in away games. Yeah. I feel like that's too much for Pookie, and absolutely he could return at Crystal Palace at the weekend.
I don't think Pookie's cheap enough to leave out. Cantwell I can understand. If you've got a Lundstrom or what have you, and the fixtures allow you to rotate between Lundstrom and Cantwell, no problem at all with that. Not this week. Not with Liverpool coming to Sheffield United. But if the opportunity is there, I don't see a problem with that. And we've seen the massive haul for Lundstrom now. But yeah, I'm not against that. With Pookie, I think if you're going to do that, just get rid. I don't think it's worth keeping him just for home games for sure. I mean, he's the best part of 7.1 million.
Well, you might have bought him at 6.5.
You can't lose the value necessarily.
No, I mean, next 3. I mean, even those Pookie's next 3 away games are Palace, Bournemouth, and Brighton. Yeah, you ain't fucking leaving him out. Next home game's Villa. So he's got to stay in at the moment, I think, hasn't he?
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about Everton. Everton 0, Sheffield United 2.
Yeah, now, fascinating one. We have to talk about Lundstrom first and foremost.
Yeah, John Lundstrom.
Great pass for the goal. Yes. Like, really brilliant pass, has to be said. This wasn't a fluky assist. It was a great pass.
The other thing we also have to say is on the Friday night stream when we were watching Southampton Bournemouth, Manchild was looking to make some transfers. I can't remember who was it. Isaac Success was injured in his team, and he did say Les Mousset, and we did say shut up.
Yeah, he came on as sub. These Sheffield United goals, the 5 forwards they've got are all going to return like 1 goal every 6 weeks.
because they get chopped and changed around.
Yeah, I think so, a little bit. Just, we need to kind of... Sheffield United now walk into a dog run, which, in fairness, basically started with this fixture. I don't think anybody was expecting them to win at the weekend. I was... Tomo, who's on this week's Clash of Correspondence with Dan, FPL Loco Lord, our Liverpool guy, he was tweeting during the first half and saying, this is shit, not playing well at all.
Yep.
And it was interesting listening to Chris Wilder afterwards, basically laughing about the fact they won. He thought Sheffield United were poor.
Well, look at the stats. 16 shots conceded, which is not like loads, but compared to the only 2 that Sheffield United
The one that will disappoint him the most, the one that I think will disappoint Wilder the most is the possession numbers.
30%.
30%.
That's low.
Yeah. Now, there's nothing wrong with the fact they've gone 1-0 up. I was quite late in the first half, in fairness. And then, they're putting bodies on the line and that kind of what you expect from them. But I feel like he's really disappointed with their possession numbers in games at the moment. He genuinely believes they should go to Everton and play their style of football. I feel like with him, really oddly, if they'd have gone up there, played better and lost 2-1, in a roundabouts way, he would have been happier.
Yeah.
But it's a very, very good sign for them that they've not been at their best against clearly a stronger opponent away from home, and they've won quite comfortably.
2-0 is a good result.
Everton have massive problems going forward at the moment. I feel like Zuma can't get in a Chelsea team, and yet Everton are desperately missing him at the moment. Mina was a little unlucky on the own goal, but it just don't look quite right at the moment. I think it's getting overlooked, the fact that Gay's gone. Gabami's coming, wasn't fit. Gomez also wasn't fit at the weekend. That's hurting Everton in the midfield area where when they've missed their main guys, they've really, really suffered.
Yeah, they did try and recruit replacements in Delph and what have you, but he's just not cutting it really, is he?
Well,
Gylfi's not on form. I think, was it Spirit Blue? Someone
the problem
tweeted
is
how
with
he
Delph,
looked like he was
Delph is very tidy on the ball, but he's a sideways footballer. And if you think about what Sean said to us, Spirit Blues, it's the biggest thing. And I watched the extended highlights of it, and there was a lot of that going from side to side because nobody's taking the onus to kind of drive beyond the opposition. I found it a little bit strange that Iwobi was rotated for this because I felt like it was a game.
He's really had an impact on the Everton side. I think he has come in and given them a little bit of quality. But you'd hope that a front man of Moise Keane, but behind him, Bernard, Gylfi and Richarlison, they're attacking players. Like that's not losing to Sheffield United level talent. They should be doing better than that. It's not for a lack of talent.
Sigurdsson and Richarlison, their ownership numbers are low, man.
Yeah.
But I don't think you can go near it.
Richarlison's the only one that you're bigging up, maybe more for Sky than for this game, but I didn't even.
I mean, neither of them at the moment would come under
consideration,
scrutiny for. I don't really know what to do with Dean. I kind of got on, and I'd convinced myself that I was being stubborn about it when I said at the start of the season I've taken a route where I'm going to stay off him.
Yep.
And obviously I've gone on, and it's not gone so well. And you look at the fixture this week, City at home, and then I look at Burnley away, West Ham at home, Brighton away, Spurs at home. And they're all even after City, the 4 afterwards, are all winnable. I don't really see the clean sheets in those, though.
They've conceded more than 2 goals in each of the last 4 games. 2-2, 3-2.
Even that 3-game run of Burnley, West Ham, Brighton, I don't really see him kicking clean sheets. Nah. And therefore, you have to get the attacking returns of him, unlike with the Liverpool guys where you might get none, one, or both.
Yep.
I feel like with Dean at the moment, I'm going to have to get the attacking returns.
6
And
points
the problem
is
is,
too much.
Like the next 3 away from home up to game week 12, Burnley, Brighton, Southampton, they're so shit away from home that they might lose all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Everton, I think Everton fans are a bit depressed at the moment, for want of less dramatic terms, because it's up. The top 6 is up for grabs, and they're well off it.
Yeah,
they're well off it.
It's a real issue, isn't it? When you see the teams around you doing as well as West Ham and Leicester have so far, it can be a bit of a concern. They're not a happy camp at the moment for sure. Let's talk about Man City, Watford. Not good. The entire Otamendi scored more FPL points on Saturday than the entire Watford defence have all season.
Did you see FPL Canal's tweet earlier?
I didn't.
Stato.
No.
So he tweeted earlier, he said, if you add all the total points from defenders against Man City this season, the total was 0.
Nah, really?
Legit.
Wow.
Someone tweeted back and went, Alderweireld got 1. I'm thinking, you've missed the point here, pal.
Yeah. If you add them all up.
Obviously, there's quite a few minuses in for Watford there at the weekend, isn't there?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Ouch. The thing is, like, it could have been a lot more than 8.
Ben Foster said it, isn't it? Someone's going to get a 9 or 10-0 tonking. I don't feel so bad about our opening day season 5-0 now.
I think
all of a sudden.
having been 5-0 down in 18 minutes, they can be absolutely delighted to have got out there with 8-0.
Yeah, 100%.
I said last week when we was talking about them,
It wasn't like City took their foot off the gas.
that Watford, in spite of how well they played against Arsenal, would not be able to be as disciplined as Norwich were in terms of their positioning. And the amount of times City were just running beyond them. There's a big difference with Man City when they can run beyond opponents. I'm not talking about people dribbling with the ball. I'm talking about runners off the ball. Because as good as they are as technicians, they still need the movement to be able to find the killer pass.
Yeah.
Now, De Bruyne is slightly different because he's a freak in the nature of, like, the cross for the first goal is unfucking defendable and you're losing in 50 seconds because he's that good and you're already beat. But generally, most of the play, and obviously he didn't start at Norwich, in most of the play, they do still need the movement in front to be able to link and penetrate. Because, you know, if you put blocks up against them like Norwich did, they're still going to be going side to side. Unless you've got that amazing delivery. Like I said, Norwich kind of committed to, you're only going to score a goal from a wide area or from distance. Watford committed to...
They didn't commit to anything.
Do you know what the best heat map of the weekend was? It was Delafeo's.
Centre circle. Because he had 8 touches, 2 of which were kickoffs or something. Oh, no, because he kept kicking off.
I think he had 14 touches or something, and 8 of them were kickoffs or something.
Yeah. So it was just a red spot in the middle. Fantastic. Let me ask you a question.
Do I want to buy Watford players? No.
No. I have at the moment Ederson, Zinchenko, De Bruyne. I don't really want to come off Ederson, Zinchenko to Otamendi seems...
Ederson got save bonus.
Yeah. Mental, innit? Would you for anybody in a similar situation to me, do you think Sterling to Kevin De Bruyne as a sideways move is an okay thing to do?
Yes.
Fine.
Yes.
That was very simple and straightforward. Only because it frees me up the budget. Like, trying to keep Sterling and get De Bruyne in is not possible for me. It is possible, but I'd have to make too many changes. Whereas just Sterling straight to De Bruyne is okay.
But it's also going to allow you something else, right? So that might allow you to go
Ceballos will go to
Ceballos to Son nearly enough, right?
Not quite.
Well, Maddison to Son. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's going to allow you something else.
Yep.
It might allow you, Allaire up to Vardy or something. There's other moves you can make.
I think I'd like to get rid of Pukki and Allaire and have Abraham and Wilson.
You're so reactive. Yes, you can go from Sterling to De Bruyne. However,
Sterling's going to play next week.
I feel like Sterling, interestingly, didn't play either of the games against Everton last season.
I don't think you can read anything.
No, I don't, and I think you should read more into the fact that he played in both games the previous season and scored in both.
Yeah.
I think there are games coming up, and this is probably easier for me to comment knowing what I'm doing with Harry Kane. But I'm not sure in the next couple if you're brave enough to captain Sterling over if you've got a Kane or an Aubameyang or one of the Liverpool guys. I mean, I think if you own Salah or Mane, I think that's probably who you captain this week.
Yep.
So from that perspective, Everton away, that's what I'm saying about maybe going Sterling to Son for the 3 of Everton away, Wolves at home, Palace away, and then steam back into Sterling for Villa at home, Southampton at home. Because Wolves, as shit as they've been so far this season, they're going to put that block up to City.
Yeah,
right?
They like to play on the counter-attack. That's their style.
And they're capable.
Yep.
And I do think, in spite of how bad Everton have been, I said this last week, they've got the players to tactically play against City in the same way that Norwich did. If the crowd can be a bit patient and a bit understanding that they're going to spend a lot of the time without the ball.
Yep.
Remains to be seen where if they. It would be a massive gamble to take Sterling out.
Sure.
Can you make that move though? Yes. I don't think.
I think I will.
I don't think any. There are so many good value players. We talk about the word essential a lot, right?
Yeah.
There are so many good value players in this game at the moment that I don't think anybody is. That fella is as close to, mate, KDB.
I agree with you wholeheartedly on that.
I actually think he is capable of finishing as the top scorer in this game.
Well, the current run rate, he is the top point scorer right now. So
is he one behind Aguero, isn't he?
Is Aguero more than him?
I think it's one behind.
Okay, well, Aguero's played an extra game. KPP missed the fucking Norwich.
Well, Aguero didn't play against West Ham opening day, did he, in fairness?
He came on and scored, mind.
Oh, KDB come on at Norwich and didn't, so make of that what you will.
Do we have to talk about Newcastle-Brighton?
Yes, we absolutely do, because I stormed off out of the pub with a fucking hump after Spurs lost.
Yeah.
And sobered up a bit, had something to eat, and really enjoyed watching Brighton. Thoroughly enjoyable.
Are they going to be able to convert this form into results? This is the challenge that we have with Brighton. They played better than us and didn't beat us, and they've been struggling to get results.
I don't know how.
One win all season.
Yeah, well, that's the problem, and obviously that first win was opening day, and obviously they're now faced with Chelsea and Spurs, and in spite of, I think plenty of people giving Brighton quite a bit of praise for this completely new way of playing football for them anyway. That suddenly they could lose to Chelsea and Spurs and they're in the bottom three and winless in 7.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, in spite of whatever tactically it's been or good, the manager's under pressure, isn't he? Because they're in the bottom 3 and it's 7 games without a win, etc. I was so impressed with Brighton on Saturday. I have no idea how they didn't win the game. What I do know is because they didn't make the most of the chances they had. And that said, the chances they had weren't glaring. I think Morpay had 6 efforts on goal. I didn't have an effort in the game which was glaringly like, oh, I can't believe he's missed out. I think Dubravka only made 2 saves. The system was thoroughly impressive. Now, there's a caveat to this because I don't know if it's just because Newcastle are, in my opinion, the most defensive side in the league. I think Newcastle had 30% of the ball at home to Brighton.
That's mad.
Yeah, that's mad. Brighton's system, certainly on what I saw Saturday, is very similar to Sheffield United's. Them 2 wide centre halves, Webster and Byrne, were bombing on in the same way that O'Connell and Basham do for Sheffield United. And they played some really, really nice football. Just on the end of it, they never looked like they were going to score particularly.
They need to either get Trossard playing and scoring or get one of their strikers fit again, really.
After Chelsea Spurs, they walk into Villa away, Everton at home, Norwich at home, which looks nice. But then it's followed by United, Leicester, Liverpool and Arsenal.
Yeah, not a consideration.
And 3 of those 4, the United, Liverpool and Arsenal, were all away.
That takes us almost up to Christmas.
They don't really, Brighton, run into a kind of congested, nice period of fixtures until January. So I don't know if you really, where you look or you go with them. Like Morpay is going to score goals. I think Trossard's worth another look when he gets fit. Again, it just feels like there's better value players at other teams. But I was really impressed with them. And I tell you what, if they keep playing like that, they will comfortably stay up.
Stay up. I agree with you on that for sure. But I'm just not considering any of their assets.
Newcastle,
I'm not considering any
banging shit. Just
Newcastle
purely on the reaction to your mate Andy Carroll coming back. It's like the fucking second coming of Jesus or something. My God, they're in trouble.
Yeah. But they are not in the relegation zone as it stands.
No, it's because they beat Spurs.
It's mental, isn't it, really?
They're okay defensively, and it might be enough for them.
Crystal Palace won, Wolves won. I mean, lastminute.com, the later than lastminute.com recovery from Wolves. Didn't get to see any of this, but as we were walking out of the ground, everyone was checking the results and just saw Jota's goal go in at that point.
Kind of a game of 2 halves. Wolves can feel very disappointed they didn't go in, winning at the break. Gator made particularly one brilliant save from a Jimenez cross to Doherty at the back post. Interestingly, for Wolves, change of system.
Yep.
So they went back to the 3-4-3 that they were starting with last year, which kind of evolved to more of a 3-5-2 late December and into January.
Yep.
Now this means Jota potentially playing in more of a withdrawn role towards the left. Adama Traore, if you look at all the average position maps from the weekend, despite finishing the game at wing-back, was the most advanced Wolves player during the game.
We've been talking about him for a little while. I mean, you were going on about how he's developed a bit of discipline to add to the pace. Was it Bradley that was talking about that on the Catch the
He's just crapping, mate.
Yeah? I mean, was it Bradley that was talking about it on the
Another assist, though. I mean, Joel Ward, who it was his shot that was deflected for the first goal for Jota's equaliser. My God. I mean, he tries a header at something below sea level. Just swing your foot at it, mate, and you win the game. Bizarre. And Wolves, in the end, got out of it, but probably on the basis of a good first half, deserved a point out of it overall. It was probably just about right.
Any assets from either that you're considering at the moment?
No, none. I think Palace, you can always look defensive. You've got Norwich at home this week.
Yeah.
You know, if you need kind of a drop in and off of Dean, you can look worse than Palace. Joe Ward, in spite of that mistake, 4.5-ish is all right. I like the keeper. He's going to make saves. He has the odd erratic game every 12 or so. But actually, he's all right. He's a decent shot stopper. Wolves are just completely to be avoided.
Yeah.
Because of this Europa lark. They lost to Braga on Thursday. Easily could have lost this. It's a sort of goal that might be a game changer for the season. And just on a note as well, not only does obviously that formation change possibly affect Jota and playing in maybe a wider position, but if they stick with it, it's also going to affect Dendoncker as well, because Neves didn't play at the weekend, and Neves and Moutinho in that system will definitely be first choice.
Yeah, definitely. West Ham 2, Manchester United 0 points. You watched this on the old box?
Yeah, of course.
Enjoyable game to be
Was
at.
it? Christ, the first half was awful.
All right, can I be honest with you? It wasn't really, to be honest, because it was grey, wet, rainy, a little bit cold, and not the most exciting performance at all.
Cold. It's fucking mid-September, mate.
Yeah, I don't know. I was not feeling well. This is me getting my violin out here.
Right.
But overall, a game. It's just strange the way that most of the fans, the vast majority, if not all, were confident of a result. And it's not normal to be going into a game at home against Manchester United confident of getting a result. And I felt the players felt it too. But similar to the Norwich game, like first, until we'd scored, it was not really that comfortable. But I don't think United offered that much. They would try to get in behind. Rashford, when he used his pace, was a challenge. But apart from that, not masses. Noble was playing really far forward. There were quite a lot of periods in the game where, rather than a 4-2-3-1, which is normally how we set up, it felt like a 4-1-4-1.
I said that to you from the Villa game.
Was right up alongside
Fornals. It's 4-1-4-1, mate, yeah.
Which is weird, like Mark Noble playing right up as high as that.
Playing well, by the way.
Yeah, he's solid. I just saw on Twitter that with Noble in the side, under Pellegrini, we've won 48% of our games. Without Noble, 18%. Declan Rice was going on about how he is his kind of leadership role model.
Are we suggesting that Jack Wilshere's played in the 18%?
Quite possibly. And Declan Rice is... Like we don't need two holding midfield players. He's playing well enough that he
covers the ground
he really
well. Yeah.
So fair play. Go on, Nobes. Go and have a crack, because it's almost comedy value when he's up there and doing what he's doing. But he's solid. I thought Anderson played well. He doesn't. I have to sit in a seat behind a guy that wants to give Anderson grief the entire game. It pisses me off. But yeah, overall I thought it was all right. United need to get Pogba, Martial fit as quick as they possibly can.
We did a whole podcast on Manchester United earlier, and we do think, or I certainly think, that Paul Pogba playing as in a 10 position as and when he's fit could solve a lot of Manchester United's problems. I don't think, if you've got what we kind of said on that pod, just to overall it, was if you've got Wan-Bissaka or Maguire, it's okay. Like, don't stress to come off. Otherwise, the only player you could possibly consider at the moment is Daniel James.
Yep. Ted, Rotation FPL, was asking me about Yarmolenko and whether or not I think he's worth a consideration. And my answer to him, which I'll just share with every listener because it wasn't classified information. He didn't pay me for this classified information, which actually might be an idea, mate. Nah. I'm just can you imagine someone give me
no
a
idea.
FPL advice. No way.
No idea what you're rambling on about.
I would never take it. Anyway, Yarmolenko great. He's shooting a lot. Great left foot. He will score goals, but then he is getting subbed. He got subbed late yesterday, so fair play. But and he'll do what he did at Villa, which is go missing. So if you want a differential, and I think every FPL team should have 2 in their team. He's not a bad shout to go for over the next run up until around about game week 12, game week 13. But yeah, he is a differential. If he goes missing, you can't then complain about it.
We'll do a bit more detail on West Ham on Tottenham tomorrow.
Sure.
Because you've got an amazing run of fixtures that I want to speak to you about in a bit more detail. But just for the benefit of this and the overall and what people might be thinking, why are you thinking of coming off of Haller with this great run of fixtures?
He was so deep. And I don't know, he just was so deep. I'm not thinking of coming off him for any reason other than I think Wilson offers better value at 7.8. But yesterday, there was very little. I wonder what his XG was yesterday because I don't check that stuff. Where'd you look on?
Wouldn't have been
Understat or
high.
something?
No, a fantasy football hub.
Okay. I would be very surprised that he was not in and around the box at all. And in yesterday's game, we didn't have that many set-piece chances. So, yeah, I just I think there's better value to be had. Like, would I have Abraham over Haller?
Isn't that a forced move, though? So, like in my, in
100%.
my team of the South,
Yeah.
I'd like to go from Haller to Abraham.
Yeah.
But it's probably not my biggest problem.
No,
and
it's
I'm looking
not
at it,
mine
I'm going,
either.
am I going to take Haller out before they play fucking Bournemouth?
I'd
It feels a bit wrong.
only be subbing Haller out if it's on my wild card. Like this week, I'm going to be going from Sterling to Kevin De Bruyne, possibly, and I wouldn't then take a hit to move from Haller to Abraham. No chance. It's only on my wild card that I would consider it because that's when I can make quite a few moves at the same time. Obviously.
Okay.
Yeah. I wanted to. One thing that interests me. I take my 7-year-old to the games, and you get dad dilemmas at football matches, which I'm really fascinated about your choice and what you would do when you start taking Harry to the games because it's going to happen. And taking your kid to a football game...
I ain't taking him. It's too fucking expensive.
Yeah, that's true, actually. It solves that problem for you. But there are dilemmas that you have with a kid. And you're a very devoted dad. The listeners should know that you're a devoted dad. That
Just a shit husband.
I just don't know how are you going to would you put your child before? So we walked to the ground and it started pissing down with rain. My son says, I've got a wet foot, Dad. My sock's wet and my shoe's wet. 4 minutes into the game, he's moaning about his wet foot. So I missed 5 minutes of the game to take his sock and shoe, wear him the cover so he's chilling, and dry it under the hand dryer in the toilets, and missed minute 4 to minute 11 or minute 12. And I think to myself...
You didn't miss nothing, by the way.
I didn't then, no. But I think to myself, James, I can't imagine James going to the game and allowing himself to miss 6 minutes to dry a wet sock under a hand dryer.
Nah.
Would you do it?
Nah.
Leave him with a wet foot?
Fucking right.
The other one that...
Because that child would be getting told, seriously,
yeah.
Right, it's half hour to kick off. You got any problems, you fucking tell
me
now.
Piss now. Boy, like, the hungry one pisses me off. So he starts telling me, I'm hungry, Dad, I'm hungry. I'm like, all right, fine. But we ate before we came to the ground. But he's like, I'm just like a hot dog or something. I'm fine. Kids got to eat, right? You've got to feed your child. I said to him, 43 minutes, I'll take you down for a hot dog. He said, 42 minutes, 50 seconds, come up on the clock because it's really fucking visible. Let's go. We got to the bottom of the stairs and he'd gone ahead of me out to the concourse. I was standing at the top of the stairs watching Yarmolenko score the goals. I spent 10 minutes jumping around and then went down to sort him out.
To find my son.
Yeah. But yeah, would you ever leave the game 2 or 3 minutes early to feed him? Not leave early, but half time.
No.
Dad dilemmas. These are going to come up, and every time they come up, I'm going to get your opinion on them.
I think my mum. I think when I was properly little, I think Mum maybe used to take sandwiches to the game.
That's a good strategy. I just didn't have time to sort it out.
Plus, you ain't a mum, so you don't think like that.
Yeah, exactly. To be honest, my missus had to take my other son somewhere. So if she'd have been at home, I would have had a rucksack ready with snacks. I didn't. Let's move on. Arsenal 3, Villa 2.
Back to differentials. I want to talk about John McGinn.
Oof. His ownership is so low for the potential that he offers at the moment.
Just under 7%. That'll grow. 5.6 million. I think he's the best midfielder in and around that price of the sort of Ceballos and
Forget
people
about
like
it. He pisses all over Ceballos as a FPL asset.
Well, you fucking bought Ceballos.
Sure, I had a good return of Ceballos in game week 2 or 3 or whatever it was. But apart from that, nothing. And I think it's not because of whether Ceballos is a better player than McGinn. Ceballos clearly is. It's just Arsenal's formation. And
John
all the rest of it
McGinn
is a mess.
Is what we would call a very good fantasy asset. He doesn't think twice when he sees the goal, mate. He just hits it. He'll hit it from anywhere. Left peg, right peg. He's got a fiery shot on him. And his movement's good. Look at the goal. The goal he scored at Spurs was breaking into the box or breaking from
Against
a deep
us,
position.
he played well.
And the goal at the weekend was breaking in. He looked the most likely for Villa against you the week before.
Correct.
I think, it's awkward price-wise. It's awkward price-wise because Cantwell's 0.6 cheaper. But I would bet that over the course of the season, McGinn will outscore him.
I agree with you on that. You know, the thing with McGinn is he's such all action, right? He's crash bang wallet kind of football player. And I was thinking, he's going to pick up too many cards for my liking this season.
That was Adam Hotcross warning, wasn't it, pre-season?
Do you know how many yellow cards John McGinn has picked up this season?
It's none, isn't it?
0.
Wow.
And no red cards either.
He was bloody lucky not to get one against you.
Yes,
in the
he
week
was.
before, I will say that.
The stats 0 yellow cards. Ceballos to McGinn is a real option for me.
Villa's next 3: Burnley at home, Norwich away, Brighton at home.
It surprises me that Villa are in the relegation zone at the moment. I don't think they have been playing badly enough to justify being in the relegation zone. I think they've been playing well, to be honest with you.
I think all 3 of the teams that have come up are giving warrant for people
Staying
to be
up.
worried. Obviously, look, Villa are in the bottom 3 at the moment, but the signs are there from Villa, Sheffield United and Norwich that they're all capable of staying up in their own way. Sheffield United have a nice structure, good defensively. Norwich will score goals. They're going to be a real threat in home games.
I think Villa have a balance of both.
I think you're right. I think they have a balance of both. However, they will have to improve on that defensively from yesterday.
Yeah.
Because we're at a stage now where with Arsenal, Chelsea, Spurs, United, it's not... In 10 years ago, you would have said 1-0 at half-time, even with 10 men, you'd expect Arsenal definitely to come back.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the case now so much because Arsenal were so shite the other way. And the others that I mentioned are not arguably not better, maybe even.
I don't know. I didn't think Arsenal would ever
Villa,
not come back.
having then got 2-1, psychologically should have finished Arsenal there and then. And the defending from Mings, who's got the worst of it from Chambers' equalising goal. Neil Taylor at left back, he's so fucking shite, mate. Like, I don't know. Mings shouldn't be... He should know better than to be trying to cushion a header in his own penalty box when he's playing for Aston Villa, with respect. Yeah. Never mind against Arsenal. But Taylor is so poor. They'll be much better off once they get Target in that team. That's got to be inevitable that happens soon. And Target is 4.4 million, 0.5% owned. Hasn't played a minute yet. It will come soon. And I think as and when it does come, he will be the best Villa asset, actually.
Aubameyang, another returning every game this season so far.
Apparently it shouldn't have stood.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because the Arsenal wall was too close to the Villa wall. So I've read today. I mean, VAR is a number of different podcasts. I'm not going to get into that. There's nothing wrong with the goal, in my opinion.
Forget about it.
Other than the fact it was Arsenal that scored it.
Returning every single game so far now. 6 goals and an assist. Aubameyang's the guy, you know. I'm happy to keep him, and I think I'll be captaining him so many weeks.
But the number of those returns is off-putting a little bit.
Why?
Well, because
what do you mean by the number of?
As in the points that he's getting in those returns.
Yeah, 6s and 5s and what have you.
Yeah, I mean, when you want to captain the guy, it's not enough, really, is it?
No, but he could easily haul as well.
Of course he could. And
there's a 13 in there, there's a 9
they
in there.
are in the middle of an unbelievable sustained run, Arsenal.
An incredible run.
Yeah. And the thing is with them, you can't put any trust into going elsewhere, I don't think, other than him. Yeah. Obviously, Pepe scored the penalty. We did think that Pepe took a load for... Was he at Lille last year? I've fucking forgotten now.
Yeah, he's a very good penalty. I think he's 22 from 24 or something.
He scored a load of penalties. Now, why he took that penalty yesterday is still to be unconfirmed, but a few people did say that they thought Pepe would get on the penalties. Just a couple to keep an eye on for Arsenal at the moment, and it's Bellerin and Tierney, who are both 5.4. Both had minutes for the under-23s on Friday. Don't dive in, but Bellerin's ownership is 0.1%. It might feel like a lot for Arsenal defender. But like the Liverpool guys, he will get attacking returns and they will keep clean sheets in home games.
Yep.
And that's on my radar already as soon as he's fit.
Hector
Maitland-Niles won't miss the league game, I don't think. I think he misses the cup game in the League Cup this midweek.
It's 2 yellows, a single
which
game
is stupid if that's the case, but that's what I heard.
Yeah. Chelsea 1, Liverpool 2. I don't know.
Let's just move on because I've said everything I've got to say about Liverpool.
I was worried about doubling up on Chelsea, Mount Abraham, because I had Pookie and Campbell. I just don't know about these double ups. People are getting Haller and Lanzini. There's a lot of these double ups out there. But Mount played, and he played well, and he could have scored. He had a few chances, and Abraham also proved a handful. I think Van Dijk and Matip showed how strong they are. They really are fucking powerhouses at the back. They're leaking these 1 goals here and there. As soon as Alisson's back, you're going to see some clean sheets flying in from them. I don't doubt. And they're just such good value, Abraham and Mount. Like I feel like getting both is a reasonable thing to do.
Yes, it is, yeah. It's because of the value of the price. If they were 9 million and 8 million, you'd probably want to make a choice between one or the other. And conceivably, even if that was their prices, you might even consider it at the moment.
Are you considering both?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Mason Mount's not going anywhere. And I think the fact that he played surely shows the importance that Lampard feels in. Played in a slightly different formation. Chelsea set up with the 3 essentially against Liverpool, similar to how they successfully did in the Super Cup final. But I think they'll go back and add another one in. Now, it might be on the other side of the next couple of games that it might be that's Hudson-Odoi, for example.
Yep.
With Willian. Pulisic left out, interesting. But I think there's 3 outstanding ones to look at, isn't there? There's Tomori.
Yeah.
Who I think
4.5 million.
Is he 4.6 now? Still 4.5?
Has he gone up? I don't think
no,
he
is still 4.5 currently.
He's had a rise.
The thing is, right, they're not great defensively, but it's all right, isn't it?
4.5 for... Is it all right? I just think you're better off. There is no good 5 million assets anywhere.
Is there a problem with going for someone like Tomori because it's Chelsea? Do you think, can't really leave him on the bench?
Put it this way.
If you get him now, you're going to play him in all these upcoming games.
If it was me, I would be looking to spend 0.4 more and get Aurier, which we didn't talk about.
Tomorrow. No. Spurs fullbacks, massive rotation risk.
We know that, but 4.9 million, cheap.
You've got to know the risk, haven't you?
Yeah, I'd rather take 4.9 million with Aurier, maybe, than 4.5 with Tomori. Maybe. I don't know. I need to think about it.
Do you know what? The answer to that probably is Aurier, Tomori. Probably depends what the rest of your fucking bench looks like.
Yes.
Is what I would say. If you're kind of shot like with people like Connor Wickham, for me at the moment, that's probably why I'd more lean towards a Tomori. Every week that goes on, you'll get more clues with Spurs, is what I would say, in terms of the midweek weekends. Walker-Peters is really close. Juan Foyt is really close as well. Yep. In fact, both, I don't know the team news for Spurs at Colchester tomorrow night, but both might even play. Kyle Walker-Peters will definitely play, and Foyt might be close. I don't know. So, we don't even know if Aurier's first choice. Was the plan to play Foyt all along? Was that the plan?
Yeah.
We don't really know. So I think Aurier's a massive gamble, to answer that question. To go back onto Chelsea, Mount is obviously an Abraham are the 2 standouts. Yes, you can go both. The thing is as well with these guys and at their value, and this is particularly relevant, I think, there's obviously a period of 6 games here. But actually, for those who've already used the wild card and stuff, the run kind of goes on till mid-January, where it doesn't look so bad. So, Chelsea's home games between now and playing Arsenal, midweek fixtures in late January, are Brighton, Newcastle, Palace, West Ham, Villa, Bournemouth, Southampton, Burnley. And you can throw in some very nice away games during that run as well. Southampton, Burnley, Watford. Then there's a few difficult ones, Brighton, Newcastle.
You buy and hold at that point.
Well, you're gonna if you're playing a longer game here and you're not gonna wild card till whenever you want with your second one, then you need some guys in there that can sit in there and you're gonna take the pain. And actually, it's the value ones are the easier ones to hold on that you've got the value ones.
That's the dodgy risk movement.
What's that? Sorry.
One for the YouTube.
It's not one for the audio, guys. Sorry. It's me making wanker signs here for some reason.
About Chelsea
they are
well.
wankers, aren't they? Obviously. They're all wankers from the bridge. Yeah, you can definitely go. I think you can go all three of them. I think that's all right.
Let me ask you a question. McGinn or Mount? I know there's a price difference between them.
Why would you make that you need to give that some context. So is that, I don't know. You need to give me something else decision-wise there.
McGinn and Abraham, or Chris Wood and Mason Mount?
McGinn and Abraham or Chris Wood and Mason Mount? I'd probably go McGinn and Abraham.
McGinn and Abraham. There
Possibly.
we go. Right.
Mount's great value, though.
He really is, isn't he, at 6.5 million?
Liverpool, I'm not going to tell you something you don't already know. Sheffield United this weekend. I think Salah Mane, if you're on, that's your captaincy for the weekend. We'll obviously detail that with Tom O. He'll fucking hate it.
Yeah.
But listen, you can't, as good as Sheffield United have been so far this season, and we are impressed with what they're doing, you can't look at that as an owner of Salah and Mane and be put off by it. You've got to go and do it, I think.
Yep. Should we do some Twitter questions?
Yeah, buddy.
Let's do some Twitter questions. Now, these are coming at you unfiltered, so I haven't really had a chance.
Neither of us have read them.
You only put the tweet out about fucking 20 minutes ago. Well, an hour ago before we started recording. Let's start at the top and put them in the order that Twitter has decided to give them to us. So no bias here because Tomo's right at the top.
Go on in.
So, just putting it out there, no bias. 6 games in now. Who do you think the top 4 will be? And who will be the 3 relegated teams?
Ooh, like
I
that.
might plead the 5th on this.
I'm going to go top.
Liverpool, Man City.
Do we need to say that? We definitely don't need to say that.
I might say in that order.
I think...
Tottenham, Arsenal.
Yeah.
Liverpool, City, Tottenham, Arsenal for me.
Yeah, I
followed
think
by
so.
West Ham, followed by Leicester. Followed by
I think so. Depends
Chelsea.
More Chelsea than United, I'd say.
Yeah.
And definitely don't rule Leicester out.
We still rolling?
No, it's been off the whole time.
Hi, man-child. Bottom 3, Newcastle. I still think Norwich will go. I just think they'll have too many problems defensively. And the last one is fucking tough. I think it might be Palace. There you go.
I'm going to go Watford.
Oh, yeah, actually, scrap that. Watford,
Newcastle and Norwich, yeah. I think I'm on that. And Watford are in trouble at the moment.
Well, I don't know. They might have a kick. Listen, they've obviously had a horrendous result. It doesn't get any lower than that.
No. If it makes any Watford fans feel any better, we were on 0 points for about pretty much the same part of last season, and we were fine at the end of it.
The biggest bonus for Watford from the weekend was it was only 8.
Yeah. Adam at 35 wants to know who we think the top scorer for the season is going to be. He's put top scorer. I don't know if he means FPL point scorer or goal scorer. Let's go goal scorer. Golden boot. Golden boot. Do we look past Sergio Aguero?
Not if he stays fit.
Yeah.
No, but he won't.
It's Aguero or Aubameyang for me.
So then I'd go Kane. He probably won't stay fit either.
Yeah.
So Aubameyang definitely in with a shot.
If you had to sacrifice one of... This is from Matthew Hall, Dr. Matt 07. Matt, thanks for the question. If you had to sacrifice one of Sterling, Salah or KDB for Aubameyang, firstly, would you make the sacrifice? And secondly, assume no other Man City or Liverpool attackers. So I wouldn't sacrifice KDB, and I probably wouldn't sacrifice Salah. So if you were going to, it'd have to be Sterling... and Salah, KDB, and Aubameyang as a 3.
Well, I've got Sterling and KDB, so the answer would be Salah for me.
Yeah, because you have sacrificed Mohamed Salah.
This is the one.
Sterling.
This is the one week where I'm a little bit worried that I'm not captaining one of them. But then there's a prolonged period afterwards. I'm not bothered.
Yeah. Chris Tellez says, with Leicester's upcoming fixtures and pretty good form, what do you think about tripling up? Soyuncu, Madison, and Vardy.
You named about 3 different players there, just to clarify. It was the same player.
Madison and Vardy.
Oh, why he's put
Chowdhury. He has put Chowdhury.
Chowdhury.
I don't know about Chowdhury.
Budget option,
cheap. Madison, yeah. Vardy, yeah. Soyuncu, yeah. I mean, they're all priced fairly, right? It always comes down to the value.
An option. I think for FPL, as I said, I do want to talk about Leicester on Sky. I think for FPL, Leicester will look again after the Liverpool game.
Okay. FPL_Bailey, thoughts on the account being deleted in FPL? Now, this is something that we haven't touched on yet, but we are going to now. So over the weekend, you would have seen that, I think it started with Dale FPL Chef.
Yeah.
His account got deleted. So initially he got hacked, and then from the hack that they deleted the account. The same we know has happened to Andy, our friend at Let's Talk FPL, Neil from Scout, Sconto Riga, and a couple of others as well. Not that I'm fully aware of, but those have all been hacked and deleted. It seems to be linked to Twitter accounts and FPL accounts combined together. The advice is obviously change your passwords. Put on two-factor authentication on Twitter, i.e. you need an app or something.
Can you detail that? Because if I'm a dummy, I don't know what that is.
You put your username and password in,
Yeah.
and it lets you log in. But you know some apps, they require another level of authentication, i.e. they'll text you a code, or you have another code generator or what have you.
So what, like every time you log in?
Yeah. So you need two levels to log into your account. Twitter has a couple of different ways that you can two-factor authenticate, either by a text message or using email or that kind of thing. But they'll send you a code. It's a pain, but it adds a level of security. And the advice is to make sure that you do that. You can't do that on the FPL site at the moment. Our friend Neil is Neil at Ronaldinho is fighting for the case to get two-factor authentication on FPL as well. And you can understand it. Like, you go to a lot of effort to play the game and make content, and then for your team to disappear. The latest, I think, is that they're working on it. And who knows if they'll get their teams back, but they're working on it.
There was an acknowledgement from the official account yesterday that they were trying to work on it, which is a start, that people are not just being completely ignored. I mean, the response, no matter what your opinions are on Chef, I thought the response that the account gave back to Chef was pretty fucking absurd, really. I think it's more like the losing of your history from the previous seasons and stuff like that. Like, if you're in like the Hall of Fame and stuff like that, or your scouts list and that, and you lose your place in that, because that's probably more galling than just losing your team now on a fucking one-off. It's the hours of research and the passion that people have for this game. So the advice is, please listen to what Suj said. Please protect yourself. I strongly suggest not having an FPL password that is the same as anything else. You probably shouldn't have that sort of thing anyway.
Yeah.
But don't do it. If you are at all concerned, just fucking change it. There is a suggestion, which is unfounded, that going on to other third-party sites where you have to put in your password is causing issues. That's completely unfounded at the moment. So I'm not saying you should stop using these other guys and these other accounts, but it's probably worth having different passwords in some sort of way, or resetting, or not having it seems like a lot of the guys who've been targeted for their FPL account, I think Holly got targeted as well at FF Community. She first got targeted with her Twitter account, not her FPL team. Yeah,
there is all sorts of strangeness going on. Like, guys, just be careful. There's also a lot of other features within Twitter where you can see who's logged into your account and where from and when and all that kind of thing. So, if you can DM me or what have you if you've got any questions, and I can point you in the right
definitely
direction.
DM Suj, because I haven't got a clue. Is what
technology
I would say.
is not there we go. Let's jump through a few other questions. John
Should I have just said that on the podcast? That I haven't got a target number one now, and
there you are. John _Jakobsen. I'm sure he's having a bit of fun. What's the chances of West Ham finishing above Spurs this season?
Possible.
What odds would you put on it? You used to be
genuinely,
bookies. 10 to 1?
Genuinely, it's possible.
10 to 1, 12 to 1?
Got about 0.02%.
I don't know what that is. Talk to me in bookie odds. 0.02%, about 5,000 to 1.
That's about that, yeah.
Fair play.
No, not at all. Look, I want to talk to you about West Ham tomorrow, Suj. I think you've got a massive opportunity now. A massive opportunity.
Good.
You won't finish above us.
No, I don't think so either.
Ever.
But, not ever. This is football, mate. As there is a West Ham fan among you, talk to me about Haller. In the last 2 game weeks, he seems to have gone from goal-scoring striker to guy who holds the ball up for wingers. Well, I always said that his hold-up play, that's a big part of his game, and you should be looking for assists as well as goals. Is it a short-term blip, or do we need to think about getting rid?
I would look at it more, just if I can jump in on that.
Do it.
He scored a goal from a set piece at Watford. And the other 2 goals both came from, in the case of Anderson against Watford and Masuaku against Norwich, people getting beyond the back 4 and putting a cross in.
On the break, basically.
So he's going to need other people to get into advanced people beyond the back 4, seemingly, or impact from set pieces to score goals. That's all I would look at from a statistical point of view.
Yeah, we didn't really
but
have
I wouldn't
that.
take him out.
Cresswell isn't that kind of play. He doesn't have the pace to, and Fredericks didn't either, really. So... I wouldn't take him out unless you had no other transfers to make. The issue is like your Pookies and Abrahams and stuff are offering better value at the moment. But Glenn's talking about West Ham as well. It seems to be the talk of the town at the moment. No one's discussed £5 million goalkeepers. Is Flappy an option? 3 clean sheets on the bounce. I was happier.
That's one hell of a miracle. 3 West Ham clean sheets in a row.
I don't think we've played badly defensively, and I don't know how we have managed to with Agbona there, because he has his stupid moments. But Diop is just, he keeps eating and getting bigger.
It's a unit,
This
isn't he?
guy is going to be fucking 7 foot wide and 7 foot tall by the end of the season. He is big, and he's quick, and he's rapid. Even he dived in a couple of times and made a few mistakes at the weekend when he shouldn't have. He should have stayed on his feet. But I'm going to forgive him anything.
Is Fabianski an option at 5 million? Yes.
He makes a lot of save. He gets a lot of save points as well. Does Flappy? So yeah, I wouldn't discount him. Who's more essential, Aguero or Sterling? That comes from FPL Teach Mode, if there's such a thing.
Which one? Who's more, Sterling or Aguero?
Yeah,
That's so tough.
Aguero.
At the moment, possibly, yeah. But shifting your funds around Sterling probably feels better. Remember, with Aguero, you're shifting to Kane or Aubameyang. With Sterling, you're probably shifting to Salah or Mane. So
Yeah.
it probably depends how you feel there. Which one's more? Fuck it. That's impossible. That's an opinion.
Danny Mack at Max Football. What would it take for Mendy to be a serious option again?
Go on.
More than half a game of football?
I was going to say to engage his fucking brain.
Yeah. Wow. More than half a game of football?
Yeah, well, nothing. I mean, did he play in Shakhtar?
I don't know.
Oh, no, he started the game at the weekend, didn't he?
Yeah, played first half.
Played first half, yeah. I was surprised they didn't leave him on, actually. But maybe he's that concerned about his fitness, which might actually be a sign that Guardiola sees importance in him. I don't know if he'd play against Richarlison on Saturday.
Yeah.
Personally. I don't know.
Glenn wants to know, a cheeky second question, what's the perfect sandwich from Subway?
I went to Subway at lunch today.
Did
I had
you?
one of their new barbecue pizza things.
Okay.
I fucking burnt the shit out of my tongue.
Oh, really? Was it spicy or hot?
No, it was just fucking hot. Like,
Okay, fair
hot,
play.
hot. Not spicy hot.
Yeah.
Kind of a fucking question's that.
What's the
Does
perfect
anybody
sandwich
really
from Subway?
care?
Italian BMT. No tomatoes, no carrots, toasted cheese. So you have lettuce.
Does Subway even do carrots?
Yeah, they have carrots. It's a dumb.
Do you go
topping
to an
for a
upgraded
sandwich.
Subway?
No,
or
it's just the
something?
one down there, mate.
Okay.
Yeah, and a few olives, jalapenos, sweet corn, and then you got to have the Southwest sauce, which is the equivalent of McDonald's Big Mac sauce, and a little bit of sweet chili. Job done on a hearty Italian Italian BMT. DM me, I'll message you the recipe.
What he said, I can't top that.
Nah. Okay. Charlie wants to ask a question, but we'll leave that for the Tottenham show, which is how do you think the Spurs back four looks a year today? But defensively,
Oh, as in who'll be there?
yeah, Tottenham.
There's every chance it'd be a completely different back four in a year's time.
2 questions from Amber Redmond. How much do you think you influence each other's FPL decisions? And will the Ipswich 9 ever be free?
So the Ipswich 9 is the reference. Amber's an Ipswich fan.
Yeah.
Reference to them still holding the record defeat in the Premier League against United in '95.
9-0.
How much do you think who influence each other's FPL decision. I think I influence Suj massively. I don't think he influences me at all.
Correct. I think I would agree with you on that. I think you're quite single-minded, and you know what you're doing. I'm open to suggestion a lot more than James is. I think I care less. But there you go. Jack at JBox92, a question each. If you could sign one West Ham player for Spurs, who would it be? Obviously, the question for me is vice versa.
Shit.
If you could sign one West Ham player for Spurs, who would it be? You take it's a Diop, surely.
Yeah, there's only two that would come into consideration. He is one actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Lanzini.
Lanzini.
I think Lanzini in a side that dominated the ball. I think he could play deeper for us and be good, really good. But yeah, actually at the moment, I'll probably go. The thing is with like Diop, like he's obviously a good player on the ball. I don't know if he's good enough. I'd possibly go Lanzini, actually.
There you go. Lanzini's going to Shite Hart Lane. If I could sign
I don't
one
want
Spurs
either, by the
player
way.
for West Ham, who would it be? I would take Christian Eriksen. And
he's available.
Yeah, it's got nothing to do with West Ham whatsoever. I just like ball playing creative midfielders. They're my type of players. The ones that thread through balls or see the game in front of them. They're footballers that I like. And Christian Eriksen's that guy, man, with the ball at his feet, going forward, and the game in front of him. He's just such a talent.
Actually, can I change my choice?
Of course you can, because it's hypothetical, and we're not actually going to make these transfers.
No, I'm
sadly.
being very harsh because I'd forgot I would take Declan Rice. Actually,
oh yeah, that boy is growing up fast.
One of the things I want to talk about tomorrow is Eric Dyer.
Yeah.
That's nobody tuning in now, is it?
Which Premier League team sums up your FPL season so far?
Spurs. Good some weeks, shit when you don't expect it to be.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Brighton for me. Good underlying statistics, but lack of results actually are out there.
Okay, all right.
There you go. Let's have a look. Let's scroll through some more Twitter questions. So tell everybody what you're doing tomorrow night, man.
I'm going to Colchester.
Colchester,
because people think I only go to the fucking glamour games.
No,
I managed to scrape a ticket just about for Colchester away.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck it. So it's another stadium to tick off the list.
Yeah, fair play. This is quite a simple one to answer, in my opinion. Pompey_in_Uganda.
Pompey in Uganda.
Shout out to
how does that
all
happen?
the Portsmouth fans in East Africa.
Massive to all the Portsmouth fans in Uganda. I
Yeah,
love it.
man.
I didn't think anybody in that region of Africa supported anyone other than Arsenal.
No, you've never been to East Africa? I've been to Kenya a few times because I've got a family over there, right? And they don't have like buses. They have minibuses as their kind of mode of transport. So they're just all like vans, basically. All of them are painted on the outside, like you see in Thailand and places like that as well, with football colours and stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, mad things. There's always Man United and Liverpool. I'm sure there's a lot of Man City nowadays as well. Anyway, where do we go for a reliable 4.5 million defender? Does it even exist? I mean, Tomori's putting his hand up a little bit now. Frank was singling him out at the end of the game. You got Soyuncu, who's a decent shout.
The problem with that area as well is actually
Lundstrom.
it's quite a bit of choice in there.
Yeah.
There's people emerging like Tomori. I think Diop can be looked at.
Dunk is always a shout. He hasn't had the attacking returns this year, but he's historically always been a good FPL asset.
Have a look at the Palace. I think Ward is 4.5. Kelly won't get back in that Palace team, by the way. You're just going to have to sit with that.
Yeah. Emil Doolin asks a question around the fringe Manchester City assets, which we didn't talk about a lot, but Bilva, Dilva and Mahrez, players who are likely to be good value over 38 games, but are bound to be rotated.
Yeah, it's a good question and very on point from obviously the returns from all three of those particular players at the weekend. If I went for one, I'd go Bernardo. I do think he has a favouritism. I think he's a top player. You're just going to suffer sometimes. Yeah. His hauls like Saturday are going to be very unusual. David Silva will get the odd one where he has kind of like goal and assist, particularly in home games.
Yeah.
And Mahrez, when he does play, is capable of double digits. Mahrez is the one you can't go for.
No, but look at what he did against us as well.
Yeah, that's knowing he's going to play, isn't it?
Yeah, it's difficult to know.
There was a lot of thought that Mahrez would play against Norwich.
Yeah.
And he didn't. So, second guess Guardiola, you're going to get it fucking wrong, aren't you? It's obvious. None of us know the answer.
I was looking at this earlier. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the top 8 midfielders in points scored so far. 5 of the top 8 are City.
Wow, that's incredible. And you got Salah, Mane,
sea blue,
separating De Bruyne and Sterling. Mount is in there, and then underneath McGinn, Richarlison. See, that's the point, isn't it? It's the underneath Bernardo Silva just go down for a Suj. You got McGinn, Richarlison, Cantwell. Son is lower than he should be really there, having missed the first 2 games. Otherwise, he'd probably be a bit higher up there.
Lamella,
and then
Madison.
You're on feeds a little bit, aren't you?
Yeah. Did you just get them and leave them be? I mean, Mahrez is 8.5 million. Bernardo's gone down to 7.8. More where we'd potentially like to see Bernardo Silva, maybe.
It's a nice price, actually.
7.8 is not bad for Bernardo. What's his minutes? So 90, 70. He started 4 out of the 6. He didn't play against West Ham opening day of the season. And he did come off the bench against Brighton and scored in that 12-minute spell. So Bernardo Silva, 7.8 million. Tickling your fancy, James?
Noted.
Yes.
It's another one, isn't it, right? So I could go Sterling to Son and then move the crap of, say, Stevens to Bernardo or something.
Yeah.
When you start balancing that kind of argument, that's then you have to factor in what other points would be on your bench instead. And it's a whole different argument. But, yeah, I mean, if you put it like that, yeah.
Cool.
Bernardo would be the one of those 3, definitely, if you want to go in my opinion.
We're at 1 hour 26, and we do like 90 minutes. So let's do one more question. Who shall we look at here?
Pick one.
Right. Do we want to talk about Bernardo Silva's tweet? You haven't seen that?
No, I haven't, genuinely.
Well, then we won't talk about it. But Bernardo Silva's been pulled out by Let's Kick It Out racism.
Oh, after I've just said buy him. Has he really? I've not seen that.
He put a tweet out referencing a chocolate brand that has a character which is a black character, and said Mendy resembles this guy. But he's a cartoon drawn character, and he's a Spanish chocolate brand, a Portuguese chocolate brand. And people are saying, well, you shouldn't really do that, and it's racist. So
no, you probably really shouldn't do that.
yeah, I mean, it was a in jest comment to his friend, and he didn't really see anything in it. I don't know if that guy's the character's particularly big and muscly, or I don't know, to be honest with you. So we'll do some research. We're not.
See, I've seen the post, and that's a little less clever, actually.
I haven't seen the post. Let's have a butcher's. Oh, okay, yeah. It's not.
Yeah, that's not clever.
It's not clever.
No.
There we go.
Moving on.
Yeah, I think we're done.
Racism in football, I think, is an international podcast special.
Yeah. Aaron, England 23 on Twitter. Have you ever met any Premier League footballers or even anyone famous? I've met famous people loads of times.
I'll tell you a good story.
Yeah, go on, tell me.
Me and a mate of mine, he'll fucking love this.
Yeah.
The guy always fucking gets ahead of me at the start of every FPL season. He never finishes ahead of me. Was in Nottingham. I was best man for someone, and we was plotting out a tour of Nottingham, basically an excuse for a recce.
Yeah.
And went down to the toilet in Slug and Lettuce in Nottingham.
Yeah.
And I'm on the phone to the missus, playing, Good Duty at the time. This is about 5 years ago or so. Anyway, fucking Michael Dawson's in the pub, and he's Spurs captain at the time. I missed him. I smashed the pub up a bit.
Huh.
I wasn't happy. My mate got a photo of him, and there's me talking to the fucking wife downstairs. Me and the wife have never been the same since.
Because of Michael Dawson?
Yeah. I met Ledley a few times.
I thought it might be...
Ledley's driven past my house and honked at me.
My favourite footballer that I met is Julian Dix.
Oh, this fucking guy, man.
But that's it. I haven't met that many others. We got time for one more question. Manchild just walked into the room because Manchild's going to like this one.
Manchild in the house.
So we have a question coming in from Jeff, and it's just disappeared. Jeff Holt. What is your favourite Queen song?
I thought we were asking Manchild.
No, I was asking you, mate. Manchild's not allowed to speak.
Oh.
Favourite Queen song?
You caught me now, aren't you? Should we go Bohemian? Is that too obvious?
No, you can go for it. You know, we're doing a bit of work for a recruitment brand. Went to a job interview the other day. They said to me, "How's your performance of Under Pressure?" I said, "It's not good, but Bohemian Rhapsody's better." How's your performance under pressure? Boom, boom. Queen's got to be Bohemian Rhapsody.
You want me in here for this?
Yeah, man. How did your FPL team do this week?
I want to stay free.
Yeah. Just so you know, Manchild, Lise Mousset, who we gave you shit about on Friday night, scored this weekend.
Is that someone I own?
No, that's someone you were thinking about buying, and it says a lot that you've even already forgotten the guy's name. Manchild, you scored 50 points this week, which is below average. You now have a rank of 3.5 million.
Banging.
Is that good?
You know how people say, "Oh, ranks don't matter." If you're lower than that, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Manchild is now the benchmark.
I've always been the benchmark.
Do you know what? Who are the 2.5 million players who are worse than you?
Some dead teams. We will talk about our zombie team, North v South team, Manchild's team, differential team. We definitely be talking about North v South team, which, just so you know, is now 75 points clear or something like that of your South team after 6 weeks. That's fucking time
Keep yapping. No one cares about it.
I might actually start managing this team more than my own team.
I might change your fucking
it.
password on it.
Oh yeah, you don't have the password on my one.
No, I don't.
The hacking scandal just got broken. If you're getting people's passwords, we know exactly where the fuck it's happening now.
It's not me.
Are you getting people's passwords?
If I could,
getting their passwords?
If I could hack people's fucking teams, I'd fucking hack my own first. I think.
So we'll be back with you. We've got a full week this week. Do listen back to the People's Poll where we had a bit of a rundown on Manchester United. I had not grief on Twitter, but people are telling me that I don't know what I'm talking about because I don't know about Ed Woodward's involvement in transfers. And if I'm wrong, happy to be told on the old Twitter to tell me.
One person messaged you.
No, a couple.
Welcome to my world.
But yeah, I'm happy to. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I didn't think he had that much influence on the football side of stuff. We have our Sky rundown on Sky Fantasy Football. A little bit better this week for me, and same again for you. 90 plus points. Tottenham, Spurs defensively. Realism on whether or not West Ham can get into the top 6 this season. I can't wait for Clash of the Correspondents this week.
Should be a good one Thursday.
Tomo, all the way from Atlanta, Georgia, talking about the Blades, them Blades, and Dan Loco Lord. We're going to make him nervous about Liverpool's run. It's what we've got
I imagine
to do,
he
Dan.
already is, mate.
Dan,
it's so much worse when you're ahead.
Yeah. Like, I'm going to say things that are going to upset him, like, I think Liverpool are going to win the league, stuff like that. You know, it's like, don't put the mockers on it.
You do know that he'll listen to this, so you already know now.
Of course, I'm priming him to be worried. But I actually genuinely do think it... asked me 2 weeks ago, I'd have said City all the way. Not as convinced now.
Agreed.
It's gotten closer. The gap's gotten closer. And then the final plan on Friday, where we'll be running through our final transfers, if we've made any already, and all the rest of that.
Yeah,
kind of
indecisive this week, which is why at the moment I'm doing nothing.
We were indecisive last week, if you remember. And it didn't work out too badly. So yeah, if you're tuning into all of this content that we're pumping out, then we really do appreciate it. Hit like, share, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. What else do they need to do, Manchild?
Manchild's giggling like a girl.
Yeah.
What else do we need to tell him?
Go on iTunes, review us, 5 stars, 6 stars. That's 2 reviews.
Can they do 6 stars
That's
on
2
iTunes?
3-star reviews, you idiot. 10 stars, 2
10
5-star
stars,
reviews.
15 stars.
Other than that, anything else to add, James?
Just make Manchild fucking happy.
Yes, we appreciate you. Ciao for now.
Cue the music, boy.
The Fantasy Football Show.